Hi, my name is Kelly Buckingham and I am the colorectal patient stratified follow-up CNS here at Basildon Hospital, looking after patients that have had curative surgery for their colorectal cancer. So I started here in post in August of 2020, so in the middle of the COVID pandemic, and we weren't really seeing any patients face to face at that time, but the process of developing and bringing in beetroot for our follow-up was already in motion, so I just took over from my predecessor and developing with Therapy Audit the platform that we would like to use. I think we went live early 2023, enabling us to use the platform for our curative surgery follow-ups. Previous to that, these patients would be mixed in with our palliative patient phone calls or clinic appointments, as well as high-risk cancers. So they would all be mixed in either with a face-to-face clinic or telephone clinics. And now, utilising beetroot, we've been able to separate these patient groups to streamline our curative pathway alongside our high-risk pathway and metastatic disease patients. And that has been the biggest change to the service, because it's freed up clinic times for these patients that are more risk. I do have administrator. I have a 0.8 whole-time equivalent administrator here at Basildon who helps me with the tracking and tracing of our patients, making sure that clinic appointments, because the patients do need to be coded on our system, so they are going through our EPR system, so for their appointments, for their remote reviews. So I do have a little bit of help with clinic letters and things like that, so yeah, definitely it does make a big difference. And at the point where when I don't have my administrative assistants, it does make a big difference to the service, because it does take me longer to get things done. So once we started sending out questionnaires, it was the uptake to begin with was slow, because it was such a change for anybody's follow-up. Even being over the telephone appointments, it can be quite daunting for patients, because they think, oh, we've had a cancer, we should be seeing people face to face. So it has been a sticky point, but we've got there. And sending out our proms to patients. One patient in particular does come to mind. Whenever I would call him, he would be very much, yes, I'm fine, not a problem. And then one day he received his proms. It was very early on in his follow-up still, and he was honest in his proms responses. And he felt that because he wasn't actually having to say the words out loud, it prompted him to be able to say how he was truly feeling. And we were able to help him with some counselling from our Macmillan counsellors here at the hospital, and also our Active for Life programme, exercise rehab programme, which he found to be greatly beneficial. And without that proms questionnaire, he probably would still be feeling as he was, very, very low and unable to express those emotions effectively. And I use him when I am speaking to some of my new patients that are coming on to follow up, and just trying to show how easy it can be when you're not having to actually say the words out loud to somebody, and you can just write it down. So our beetroot system will monitor our CEA results, so our cancer marker results. Every day I come in, turn on the computer, check for my alerts, and it's one of the things that I inform my patients, that no news predominantly is good news. If they don't hear from me between having their blood test taken and the date that they're roughly due to hear from me, either via a telephone call or a results letter, it's because their CEA markers are within normal range. There's been a few occasions where those CEAs have been elevated. I've been able to contact the patient sometimes 2 weeks before they were due to have their review, and it's 2 weeks of getting the ball rolling and getting them investigated, spoken to, sometimes even on MDT before their appointment date as such, which just speeds up the process if they do have a recurrence or unfortunately have developed metastatic disease. Our endoscopy and also radiology results, currently we are paper tracking those, because although we can put the reminders on our monitoring pathway for beetroot, at the moment there isn't a link for either of those to come through automatically for the text reports. So we are adding on the monitoring pathway for them with the dates that they're due, and then we would update that date for the date that the actual appointment is scheduled for, so that we can then monitor it that way, to ensure that everything's kept to time, but also that the patients get their results in a timely manner also with regards to both. So yeah, it would be really helpful to have it coming through. It would definitely be very, very useful, and it means that we can then implement us going even more paper free, which is what we were hoping that this system would be able to do, especially for our high risk colorectal patients and also metastatic disease patients. We're starting to add them onto our pathway for CEA monitoring as a safety net, but then we can start to incorporate these things as well, so it safety nets them even further. So with regards to streamlining our service as a whole, we are now utilising beetroot problems to monitor our polyp cancers that we look after here at Basildon. They've had a curative polypectomy, so no surgery to remove their polyp cancer, and it's been taken out via colonoscopy. And this way we are able to utilise the system to look after them, and in the same way that we would do all of our other colorectal patients. But we are also now utilising the system for our neuroendocrine tumours that are found in the bowel, but also our appendiceal neoplasms that are follow a slightly different follow-up, but we've now got a pathway available for us to use on beetroot for them as well. We do have colorectal services and nurses in Southend and Broomfield. I believe Southend CNSs do have the ability to use beetroot, and their patients were being uploaded onto the system. Unfortunately, they did lose their administrative assistance, so they have been using their old method of follow-up for now. Beetroot has changed the way that we work here for our patients for the better. It's freed up a lot of our time for those patients that need the extra care. We've been able to implement ward rounds back for our inpatients because it's freed up so much time.